We've been waiting patiently for this, the Chairman's monthly report. There is actually a trick question in this, which I've just picked up. And I was actually at the Tūtera Mangahururu Forum meeting while I was in Dunedin at the same time. So obviously that didn't work. I think Councillor Graham, you went to that meeting there, so put a line through that when we come to accept this report or otherwise. Just some general comments there. Actually the RMLA conference, I thought we may have delved into a bit more detail on reforming the RMA. We sort of skirted around the edges, but one interesting piece of it was there was a session on local government amalgamation, and very much like the Hawke's Bay conversation, there was the full range of views and the full range of strongly held views, I might add. On the day, didn't really get very far as part of that process. But I would encourage other councillors. The RMLA conference actually is one of the better conferences, I think, in New Zealand to do with our line of business. You meet a lot of people that the council deals with, and you do hear a lot of topics in an in-depth way that we do deal with. It's almost like delving into the engine room of regional councils. So I've found it particularly helpful. The Resource Management Law Association conference, thank you, Madam Chief Executive. I've chucked in there Lee Aiken. No one would know Lee Aiken probably around this table, but he's a guy that's been a faithful Wairau District Council employee for 30 odd years. He shifted from the works group to be Chief Executive of Quality Roading Services when it became a late of the Wairau District Council, and he's done great things. I think I was quite happy actually to give him a mention in this little report. I think he is a guy that has done a lot of work for Northern Hawke's Bay. He's intersected us on various occasions with river extraction, etc. And I wish him well in any future endeavours. Osprey's an interesting discussion. The board of Osprey have sort of never really grasped the merits or otherwise of having a good, strong relationship with the regional councils. So our spend can be better integrated with their spend. Our objectives can be assisted by them and vice versa. The last meeting we had, we actually threw the gauntlet down, and when I say we, some of the other stakeholders and contributors have also felt that Osprey needs to perhaps refocus a bit on the needs of its stakeholders and funders. It's done a great job, and it's only 1 year old, to be fair, but anyway, there has been a challenge issued to them. I've got a further meeting with them in early December to find a little bit more common ground on behalf of the sector, but certainly on behalf of us. I mean, as an example, and Mr. Adey could probably comment on it if required, but you know, as they transition out of their Animal Health Board or TB-free areas and we take over in the form of a pest control area or PCA, quite often there's very little notice. There's a lot of confusion in the farmer community about who's doing what, and between us we miss a lot of opportunities on the way through where a farmer community could fully understand the transition period. It could take longer, as an example. So instead of a 3 month, it's all yours in 3 months' time, here's the letter, thanks very much, we could actually be more coordinated in them exiting and us entering an area and get better leverage out of a relationship with the farmer community that actually end up doing a bulk of the work. So, locally we have some issues, but nationally there are other issues. To be fair to Osprey, they are a new entity, which is the combination of the TB-free Animal Health Board and NATE, which is the Animal Identification Traceability System, National Animal Identification Traceability System, which came together because it did make some sense. And there's a bit of bedding down still to be done. Just quickly running through a few things that have been happening here. Nothing really out of the ordinary until you get over the other side and look at some of the priorities in the month ahead. There is a meeting of the mayors and myself and Transport Committee chairs to discuss the future of the rail corridor. That'll be an interesting discussion next week, I think that is, Councillor Dick, on Tuesday. and we've had, we will have further workshops to discuss some of the fantastic feedback we've had from this community on our Big Six discussion, which I think has been, in early stages, been quite successful. So quite encouraged by the participation there. The last couple of things there are quite interesting. The first reading of the RPC legislation, I hope to get down to that next Wednesday, and the High Court proceeding on Plan Change 6 obviously kicks off the following week, so we'll all be watching that with great anticipation. The other one I might comment on before I take any questions, if there are any, is the meeting in Wairoa with Mr Little and Mr Ross, who were here this morning, and the challenges of spray control and the flood schemes across the region. I think it's a discussion that's actually a bit bigger than just Northern Hawke's Bay. We have a large area we cover in a flood control sense, and keep vegetation out of the channels to make sure that the flood control works well and keeps our region safe, basically. So I think it's a timely reminder almost to have another look at the system and see if it's the best it could be, and how can we meet the challenges of spray control and the other issues that have been raised. So, but anyway, I'll take questions if there are any. Councillor Belford.
Just could you elaborate a little bit on the Business Hawke's Bay Reds issue? Is there a revamp underway?
Yeah, well, early stages. They are looking at a revamp. Regional economic development strategy, for those that aren't aware what that meant, which it should have been put in full, I'm sorry, apologies. We basically met with the Chief Executive and Alistair McLeod, thank you, who was anticipated that he would do the work. So they were just doing a quick round of the councils and other interested bodies to see how that might proceed. It's not broken, absolutely not broken, but there is potential to add some outcomes, if you like, some doing bits to the strategy of collaboration, which has been working quite well. So, but it's a work in progress, and I'll keep you updated. Someone happy to move us into lunch? Yeah, thank you, Councillor Graham. We have a seconder for that, Councillor Bevan. Discussion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. We'll break for lunch so these guys can get in here and do their thing with the air conditioning, and we will come back to the HBRC discussion at 1 or shortly thereafter, please. Thank you.